I don't know why it's playing through that. But you're live.
It's me playing this music right now, live on my guitar. Dream Show Live, Stephen Eakin, Isaac Stackhouse. We're here at the Parkway Automotive Studio. I don't know why I'm pointing at everybody. Parkway Automotive Studios here in lovely Warner Robins. We have Miss Tanya Bickham here with us today. She is a longtime friend and coach of mine in a few different ways, I guess, over the years. So we're really excited to finally get you on. I think we talked about this several months ago.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
So yeah, really, really excited to have you on. Is there anything else that I need to do really quick? Musgrove Trial Firm 678-226-1994. I mean, yeah. I mean,
call buddy. Everybody knows.
Like
the people know.
It's raining. There's been like thunderstorms coming through all through the state. Yeah, I know y'all been in an accident or something. You have some personal injury stuff. 678-226-1994. It's on the door. That's why I keep looking that way, so I know I do it right. And I know it because I can just say it. And every time I start to say it, I get a little panicky. And I'm like, oh, is that it? That's it. 678-226-1994. Yeah. Excited to be here. It's Wednesday at 10-ish. We said 10:05. Well, we made it 10:10. You know.
Yeah, I got lost.
It's not your fault. We always give ourselves a little bit of a window for whatever reason we need. So
you're not early, you're late.
We're just always on time. That's the way we look at it, because time is not even a real thing. Anyways.
Did you go further down that wormhole
last night?
No. Well, okay. There was that one that you sent me, but I thought that we talked about the fact that time was real. Thought we confirmed that.
Wait, you mean through like ages?
Yes.
So it's only real as in a measurement from things that are past. It's not a measurement of things in the future. You can't predict a time of the future. There is no future time.
See, we get deep into things on
this
here.
Is deep.
Yeah. That was too fast for that, by the
way. we went way deep.
Hi, this is Tanya. And yeah, time's not real, so the future's all fake.
I think I'm on the wrong show.
It's a simulation. No, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. That's kind of the point. But no, Tanya, glad to have you here. Do you want to tell a little bit about yourself? I could keep talking, but I think that's why we have you here for a little bit.
Yeah, I'll be glad to jump in. So I met Stephen. Oh gosh,
that was in,
I don't know, 8 years ago, maybe.
Thomas is 7, so yeah, at least 8.
About 8 years ago, in the martial arts world.
Yep.
And I own a functional fitness gym called The Compound, and Stephen came to train with us a little bit, do a little bit of conditioning work, and we had lots of fun.
Definitely.
I'm also an ER critical care nurse, been a nurse for 25 years. I was a high school teacher before that. A lot of people don't know that. Yeah.
See, we didn't even have that on the thing.
There's so many AKAs I didn't know.
She does a lot of stuff as I start talking.
I do a lot of things. So I still run the gym. We have classes Monday through Saturday. I've added yoga to my experience. We're doing trapeze yoga and stretching classes.
What is trapeze yoga? Not to interrupt.
It's super fun. If you know what a TRX is, suspension training straps.
No idea.
Yeah, they're hanging straps that you can do workout stuff with.
Yeah.
And you kind of couple that with half of an aerial trapeze for aerial yoga. And so you kind of have a sling, and then you have a set of straps. And you do some yoga, you do some functional fitness, you do some burpees, it's all fun.
All of that was good until then, right? Everything I was like,
everything is gonna have burpees.
She said burpees, and I was like, see, I'm no.
Yeah. But. So so we've got the aerial yoga, we've got the stretching seminars going on, and soon to add breath work, kind of a meditation kind of stuff. Nice. My work with nurses and whatnot, the last 2 years have kind of been rough with the pandemic, and there's a lot of PTSD out there. And so we're going to do, some breath work and stress relief.
Oh, that's very interesting. Honestly, that was one of the things I had actually had in some notes about some questions I was going to ask. And I guess I could just kind of skip into that, because I've, like we said, we've trained together since way back, I guess at this point, the first time at not the old Rush, but one of the old Rush locations. Yeah. And it was not like, I don't know how to say it, but like everything, it was like you could see now. I could see the process from where it was to where you've come now.
Yeah.
And like we were working really, really, really hard on a lot of different things. And I don't think many of us were thinking about recovery and
Right.
different things like that and taking care of our bodies in the way that it would be good now.
Correct.
Like to keep doing all the things that we were doing then. So how like with PTSD, I guess is one thing, but with other types of things, how much are you leaning more into like recovery and like getting over some emotional type stuff that could be affecting your body and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's huge. Of course, years ago, we didn't think about it. I've been a nurse for 25 years and a lot of it ER. And in the ER, you see so many terrible things. People come and go, and they're usually there in their worst moments. And so you jump from fire to fire to fire and trauma, and you just stuff it and go. And so that's been my life for 25 years. You just keep taking care of people. And then COVID hit, and I've been working in the ICU for that. And, the trauma that has come along with that for healthcare workers has been immense because especially in the beginning, the first year, the families were not allowed into the patient rooms. And we would literally set up little tablets in the room so that we could WebEx people dying. Like literally, we held their mother's hand or their father's hand and, brother, wife, mother, whatever. And we would do that 7 or 8 times a shift.
Wow.
Like in a 12-hour shift, and we have 6, 7, 8 people die.
Yeah.
And you're just watching, the families are grieving over a tablet. Like, how terrible is that?
That's so strange to.
Yeah. And it's,
them.
and then, and then all the other, I had a daughter that was a senior that year that all that hit. So no prom, no, all the sporting events that they didn't get to do, and graduation, they didn't get to do a graduation, and so many things that kids of that particular year lost, and all of the stressors that put on parents. Now all of a sudden parents are having to virtually learn with their students, and that in itself has been terrible. I can't imagine. Luckily, my daughter graduated that year, and so we didn't have to have that battle, but just those stressors alone. And then, so recovery from all of those things, recovery from years and years of those traumas for healthcare workers, things that, we didn't really think about it. We just stuffed and went. And so as my path has kind of, evolved over the years, I went to yoga initially as a recovery.
Oh, that was about 5 or so years ago, I guess, at this point, because y'all were starting to do that. I was still here then. That's right. I remember that.
And so I went to yoga for recovery of an injury because, we do obstacle course races and things like that. And I tore a meniscus in my knee, and then I dislocated a shoulder, and it was just kind of like one injury after the other because we didn't stretch. We didn't take time to recover and do what we were supposed to do. We would race back to back to back weekends, and didn't think about recovery at all. So that's how I came to yoga. And we went to my friend Leanne and I, we went to this restorative yoga class. And I don't know if you know anything about yoga, but I think about yoga as just, we're just going to kind of move and it's going to be whatever. And I'm very type A, always on the go. And, and so we go in this restorative class and they have these pillows and the lights are really low. And they say, okay, let's lay down on the pillow. And we lay down on the pillow and we don't move for like 15 minutes. Like, and I'm tapping on the floor and I'm looking around and, I'm like, what are we doing? Like, we're not even moving. I thought we were going to like warrior 2 or, something. And that was the hardest yoga class I've ever been to in my life because it was more of a mind thing. You had to slow your mind down. And I started going to more of those classes, even though I hated it when I started. It's now become one of my very favorite classes to go to because we're all so busy all the time that you don't ever shut down. like my radio is always on in the car. I'm either listening to music or I'm listening to something on Audible or I'm listening to a podcast. And, between that and then you get to a class and you teach a class and then, then you're on your Facebook or your Instagram, whatever.
Do your promotion for your school.
Right. I mean, you're just constantly, and then go to work, I work during the day at the gym and doing coaching online. And then I work at night, on the weekends. And so it's just a constant bombardment of, social everything, whether it's in-person social or online social, music and media and all of those things, coming at you. So recovery's been huge. And, yoga has been a huge part of that for me.
That is really cool to hear. Because definitely there was a whole group of us that was working out, and I never went to, which was interesting. I never went to any of the races, like the Spartan races and stuff, but I really, really enjoyed training with the team because everyone was working really hard, no matter the level of physical, strength or endurance that they were at. They were all working to their level. And then each, team member would try to help, everyone else along the way up, and over things. And it's really crazy to think about it, but like I can remember days for sure that I would go to a class or training session with you guys and then immediately just go like change the clothes I had on and go right into an MMA or jiu-jitsu or sparring session or something like that with no break, really, no recovery, no extra water or any stuff like that. And it was just normal, and so I wonder now how much of that, it helped, but how much of it should have been like pulled back a little bit more. And Isaac, he can attest to that. I'm really like, maybe sometimes I'm a little bit hard on the don't go too hard. Like I'm a little soft on people because I know how hard that some people are willing to push themselves anyway, because there's something in there that whatever that thing is that they're trying to get through, it's not always necessarily the race or the fight itself or whatever. It's some other thing like we're talking about now that you can't stop tapping, you can't stop looking around, you can't stop fidgeting. It's that same thing, but you've magnified it to this big giant level now to where we're like, just suffering day to day. And it was fun, but then like we could have took a day off. Yeah. It would have been okay to rest a day, and so that's what I have to tell some of my guys. It's like, man, listen, just it's okay. Just go take one day. Yeah. Just take one for me and then just come back then, because people are like, no days off. And it's like, I think maybe one day off. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, well, seriously, I've got some folks at the gym that are doing some really great things in the racing world, and they'll go and they'll race the entire weekend and then come back to class Monday morning. And it's like, dude, you just, you ran 100 miles this weekend and, we're swam through the mud and did 100 obstacles, and you need a day off. Yes, just take a day. Like no, we got to get right back to it, and it's hard to break through that mentality, and we've, when we were doing classes there at Rush, we didn't stretch, we just pounded, you just pound harder through that hour and then, we'd race off to go do whatever else we needed to do. And so one of the things that we've done, especially in the last 3 years, is kind of implemented some stretching. And so we end class about 10 minutes early so that we can make everybody stretch. Because if you don't make people do
they're just going to walk off.
They're not going to do it.
Yeah. I found that too in whatever we do, that like I'll do class a certain way usually. And maybe I'll take an extra 10 minutes that I would leave for you to get a couple of the 5-minute training rounds in during the actual 1 hour of class, where normally we do an hour of class and then we leave like at least 30 minutes left for everybody to kind of do that sparring. And some people do leave or whatever at that point. Yeah. But I put it in the class sometimes on purpose to get some of those people the time, because they're like, oh, I have to go somewhere or do whatever. And then people still they'll be like, they want to just leave and skip it anyway. And it's like, no, I programmed this in for you. This is
you need this.
Yeah. There's a reason that we ask for some of this stuff, you know, and it's really, really been interesting. It's been a huge part of where I've went in the last several years, is back down, I think, that road of trying to think of recovery and trying to get like some of those things unwound from before, because I found myself too when we went to San Diego, I tried some yoga for the first time because I had seen you and saw y'all getting into it a little bit or whatever. And I'd always thought about it. We talked about it and stuff. And so I was like, I'll see what's up. And I never really got into it as a thing in the groups or whatever, but I've stretched on my own or whatever, and definitely have to do certain levels of mobility work every day, or my back or hip or knee or something is like shoulder hurts or neck hurts or whatever, from just general day-to-day grind and wear and tear. What do you think, like what kind of science is there that you know of on like the emotional side of like muscle tension that's built up? Because I've been reading and seeing stuff where people talk about, similar to what you were saying though, in a way, that when people start doing some of this yoga and different like restorative practices or whatever, that they'll start feeling like emotions like come up and certain things, like real releases where people will just like start crying. I found that before myself. I just like be crying like emotionally for no reason or whatever. Yeah. And it's just the fact that you had been so tight for so long and wound up in a certain way that it's a relief in your body, just kind of floods with emotion. Are you familiar with much of that?
Yeah, for sure. So one of the classes that I just did my certification in was about the science of stretching. And there's so much tied to our neuro system, neurologically, how we're wired and how things work. We do store so much tension, and we do store so many things in our bodies between muscles and memories and all of that. And when you don't stretch and when you don't recover, you just have a constant bombardment on your neurological system. And so when we start doing these practices and stretching and doing meditation or, breath work and those kinds of things, you can literally see people, when they finally relax, emotion just wash, over people. And there definitely is a science to that.
Yeah, I'm really getting interested in that type of thing. It's kind of hard to find a lot of people that are willing to go down that road with you too much, especially I think in our field that we're in, where there's a lot of like bravado and stuff like that, where you gotta, again, no days off and grind until, that's how you get to the top, is by no days off or whatever and stuff. Yeah. And I think trying to combat that's been a little bit tough, because a lot of people that come in from other places don't have that mentality. And sometimes our people aren't quite as experienced as they are, so they can kind of win versus them. And so people think, oh, we got to do like that or whatever. And it's like, but if you start doing that every day, you won't make it to get to that brown or black belt level, because your body's going to fall apart on you if you don't take the time to let that elbow heal or whatever it is a little bit. Like, I think you're done, sir.
Am I dead?
Oh,
there we go. All right, I'm on. I think too, a lot of it has to do with the people that are trying to be they see that, and they see what the top guy does, and they see he's like hitting all that, but they don't ever see the background. They don't see all the recovery, all the stuff that guy's doing to be able to do it.
Well, then I guess that's kind of
because I don't think they'll talk about it.
That's the thing, is like making that a part of your class and giving that part some reverence or whatever you would say in your classroom, and show that this is important by you at least talking about it, or making, demonstrating how you would do it or whatever, or say like you guys see all the mobility crap.
I want to see you on a loop strap.
That's what I'm saying, is that I'll take, we talk about it on here all the time, but like I'm like going super heavy into the gotta get this shit right. Excuse me. Gotta get this stuff right. I don't know why I just apologize. It's my show.
I thought you said it's your show. As we came into this, it's your show.
Tanya's okay, so I'm not allowed to say the F word.
No, you can say whatever you want.
You can say whatever you want.
I just surprised myself right then. I usually don't really cuss that much.
I mean, yeah. You're a little early. You're in that 20-minute mark.
Hey, we're here. But yeah, so like taking naps and different things, and like realizing what is making certain things tick, and like emotionally or mentally, how things that you're carrying around can bleed over into other parts of your life, whether it's your training or your personal life or relationships with your kids or school, or how all those things kind of add up, and emotionally it can make you physically less like I don't know what the right word is for that, but just like you don't feel as good every day because mentally you're taking a beating now in some other way. I think that's just is super overlooked in the culture until maybe as much of the pandemic, and now a lot of people are really going hard into that lifestyle, which is great. I'm all for doing things that make you happy if you can, and being okay not being or having to try to be the biggest financial earner, you know, everywhere, every day in order to have peace of mind and happiness and stability in your home or different things like that. You know, I think a lot of that's really important. And I've seen more people start to do it, you know, and again, hearing you talk about it is like, you guys have obviously took a heavy turn towards that kind of stuff too. And I think it's just maybe part of the process, Isaac, in some way for everybody. They need to, like we talk about, go too far, going hard sometimes. So you'll need to know where to pull back on that. Right. But that's part of being that strong leader and telling people like, hey, you should pull back a little bit. And then if they, that's right. I said it. I don't even know what that was. They just got me freaked out. Man. Why are you trying to make me?
I didn't do this.
Somebody's doing this. It's not me.
Hold on.
We apologize for Isaac.
What's up, everybody? Welcome
it's over
to
there.
The Ground Podcast. My name is Jason Hartwell from JK Blades.
Why is that still playing? I don't even know what it's.
With my big homie.
Oh my gosh.
We're just having Knife Works.
Hold on.
Guest in the house with us.
Just unplug
TV. Last minute guest.
Is that what it is?
And
jeez.
All right, we're back. Sorry about that. A little technical difficulty. Why did garage?
That's why you got to breathe right there. Take a breath.
All right, we're here.
So in order to take a deep breath, you must first exhale fully.
There you go.
And then I can start to feel better. That's one of the things I learned. That's one of the things I've learned over time, because everybody always thinks about the inhale, but you can't really get a good inhale until you've exhaled first.
Fully exhale. That's right.
So the opposite's always true, Isaac. You're always looking for the wrong thing. Turn on the TV and stuff. My heart's beating so damn fast.
I had a brief warning on that because I saw something flicker on the screen. And I was like, huh, what was that?
Interesting. Back to the story.
So we're back.
So yeah, you got to breathe sometimes, man, or you'll die.
What, when you're talking about the breathing, what is the technique, or I guess that's the right word? Like, what's the practice that you mostly focus on?
It really just depends. If it's an anxiety type thing, there's a certain way that you breathe in order to engage the parasympathetic nervous system. And we do like box breathing, where you inhale for 4, hold at the top for 4, exhale for 4, hold at the bottom. That's one of those techniques that you use, for anxiety and stress. Like before you're going to go live or whatever, if you're someone that's anxious, which I don't think that you are, but that's
You'd
something
be surprised.
that helps a lot of people. And then, just the same as to relax yourself and to engage that parasympathetic side, to engage the sympathetic side, it's that sympathetic nervous system is your fight or flight. And so like before you're getting ready to work out, but we have a practice that we use in trapeze yoga. It's called breath of fire, and it's sharp exhales through the nose only. And it's like a fire breathing dragon, and it's quick. And it excites the sympathetic nervous system to help get you ready for exercise. And so it really just depends on if you're needing to come down or if you're needing to come up. But the whole, breath work is very scientific. You can change the pH of your blood with your breath. And so, which I've known that for years being a nurse. We do arterial blood gases and things like that. And we look at the pH of the blood and the carbon dioxide levels and bicarbonate levels in the blood when we have patients that are on the ventilators and whatnot. But to think about how easily we control it and how we can really change the chemistry of our body through breath work is amazing to me.
Turning it on and off like that. That's really interesting.
Yeah, I've been a fan of the Wim Hof and stuff, but I've just now gotten kind of going down the fire breathing and
isn't that the Hickson thing? Isn't that what he was calling his? Is the fire Hickson Gracie? Doesn't he? Breath of fire is what he was calling it.
Breath of fire, but I think his is more
he's
about
he's doing the
Oh, that one. Yeah. I thought you were talking about
Before
where
the
he does
fights.
the where he
No,
does
no,
the
not the other thing.
not the other
The
thing
core
where he
thing.
sucks his.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
I be trying though. I be trying. I'm gonna get that shit in about 10 years. Your boy gonna be in
Yeah, that's Ben Eddie was talking a bunch about that at the last thing that I was up there in Scottsdale for. That's the like he was talking about the fire breathing and like exhaling and getting that ready. And he talked about it because we did the Wim Hof session right before that, and then he was like discussing. He was like the offsetting ability for you to like you're talking about to go up, to come down,
Right.
to go up, to come down. And like he was talking about from like doing competition. So like being able to bring yourself up for that thing and being able to
settle back down.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you think about somebody that's, that they're in a panic mode and you see somebody hyperventilating them where they're breathing really fast. And, you get people that, okay, now you need to slow your breathing down, or they give them a bag to breathe into, like take some slow, deep breaths. And so it's really just breath work.
Yeah, it's really interesting to think about that stuff. I read a book, I guess last year, I don't know, it could have been 2 years ago. I think it was called Breath. And one of the interesting things he was talking about is that breathing through your nose versus breathing through your mouth, like almost exclusively, can really change the shape of your face. And even into adulthood, apparently, if you start like taping your mouth shut at nighttime, it can change the shape of your like your nasal canals and stuff by starting to breathe more and different stuff like that. And that's like he has science in there that they back in, you know what I mean? And he's done he did a couple of experiments where he like plugged his nose, like stuck stuff in there, like to imagine that it was stuffed up, and tested all of his blood work and different stuff like that with just mouth breathing, and then did the opposite where they had taped and he was only allowed to breathe through his nose, and the numbers were just so hugely different on how like healthy it was to breathe through your nose versus breathing through your mouth so much. And especially like when you sleep, apparently it's a really big deal. So again, I don't know. I've only read I know a little bit about a little bit, but that's the things that are starting to really be more interesting to me too, as I'm getting, I don't want to say even older as the reason, but just further into my studies and practices as a martial artist and as a, I don't know, a coach in general. Cause I want to be able to share like these things with these guys who may or may not have ever thought about it.
So think about when you're fighting, right? You've got a mouthpiece in, your mouth is closed, and you see the guys that their nose is flared, they're really sucking in breath through their nose. And then what happens when you get punched right in the nose?
Yeah.
Right.
Start bleeding.
Yeah. Yeah.
They just can't breathe though.
Yeah. But it definitely affects. It definitely affects.
Yeah. No, I have a one side over here. I've actually got to go. Probably I should go get it fixed, but I can't breathe.
Yeah, deviated septum.
Right. If I can, we talked about that too. We talked about almost everything. We'll pull it back and it'll open up for me. So I just don't want to go.
It's huge in running too. The running coaches will tell you need to be breathing through your nose when you're running. And if you've ever done any running, and especially if you're not a great runner and you're trying to get better at running, it's hard to breathe through to get enough air. You literally want to open your mouth and suck in all the wind that you can suck in when you're trying to run. And, but literally closing your mouth. And so what I've done now is I put gum in my mouth and just bite down on that gum to physically remind myself to keep my mouth closed and to do more breathing through my nose.
Yeah. I used to not think about it in that way exactly. Or like, I didn't know, but I used to hear old boxing announcers and different people talking about, oh, he's got his mouth open now.
Right.
He's getting tired.
Gassed.
Yeah.
And so I would always try to train with my mouthpiece in. Even when we were doing the compound stuff, I would do everything with my mouthpiece so that with my mouthpiece in. I just had to start talking like it was in. So I could bite down when I was doing all the stuff and force myself to do the nose breathing, even when I was trying. I mean, even when I wouldn't necessarily be conscious of it, the mouthpiece in my mouth made me want to bite down, even when we were doing the running or the mountain climbers or whatever the deal was. Dude, that stuff was so fun. I always think about that one race day, that like test race or practice race we did down at
OCR training that we did,
or whatever. That was one of the coolest days ever as far as just like fun stuff.
We just did one of those a couple of weeks ago.
It was brutal, but like I would have to be in really, really good shape to do that. But looking back now, like I was in that was probably the best shape I ever was in at that point.
Yeah.
When we were doing all that stuff together, because I was getting down. I was walking around probably weight wise at about 210 or so. That was when I first was making the 205 weight class and stuff like that way back when. And so you have been part of the nutrition team for me a couple different times as well throughout the years. We've plugged in and out with you.
Yeah.
So you've always been super reliable for me in that stuff. Anytime I've ever needed it, and anytime we've ever worked together, I've always been super successful. So I definitely like respect your opinion on a lot of that stuff. What are some of the things that people, I don't know, that you think of that would be some simple fixes to maybe the common problems that you see new people come into your gym with, like with nutrition, maybe before they even started doing much training?
The biggest thing is that people just really aren't aware of what they're eating. You know, the average American, you know, there's something called the SAD diet, standard American diet. And it is sad. It is sad because, you know, so much sugar, so much processed, so much carbohydrates. You know, a balance is great. And most people don't even know what a balance is. Most people don't know how much sugar they're, you know, taking in on a daily basis, even through just something that they drink.
Mm.
You know, a lot of people are having a lot of sugar through that. But, you know, really just taking an inventory of what you eat is a good basic, you know, first step, whether it's, you know, MyFitnessPal or whether it's just an old timey notebook, you know, just write down everything that you eat. And then once you see it in front of your face, sometimes it's kind of shocking. You know, once you see like, oh my God.
It's always a little bit.
Yeah.
troubling.
You're like, did I really eat that? So, you know,
Had Taco Bell 10 times last week.
right. Yeah.
10. I guess I can turn myself off.
He can't,
I did.
Yeah,
I
too much
was so
Taco Bell, he
shocked.
can't speak.
That's shocking. I haven't had Taco Bell in probably
Oh yeah, that's right. I forget. He's a vegan.
4 years.
Okay.
So
All right.
whatever. What do you feel about that as far as like health and nutrition wise? I know that it doesn't work for everybody, and there's so much. And he and I, whatever. That's how much I don't think about it. Is that right then I was just making a joke. I don't, you know, he doesn't really like I'm a vegan people or whatever, but he is. And so, but interesting. Like, is there a benefit or a negative side that only just like nutritionist kind of standpoint, not a personal preference thing, maybe that you know of for being vegan or carnivore, even one or the other, like strictly?
Yeah. So I think, you know, in my studies with nutrition, I went to the Institute of Integrative Nutrition in New York. And one of the big things that they taught was bioindividuality, and that there's no one diet that's good for every body. And so that's part of the thing that I do as a nutrition coach is help people discover what foods work best for their body. You know, a lot of bodies do well being a vegan.
Yeah.
A lot of bodies do well being carnivore, or a good mix in between the two. You know, both of those diets, being a vegan or being a carnivore, are strict in opposite ways. You know, I'm definitely lean to the keto carnivore side. I've done carnivore. I've never tried to be a vegan.
Yeah, I was doing which I was doing it wrong. I was doing like keto during a fight camp. And one of the guys that was alongside me was like a weight class lower than me, but had the similar body type, similar build. And I was watching what he was eating, and I was eating keto, trying to make it through a fight camp. And I was like,
That's
bro.
rough.
And so I asked him, I was like, what do you eat? And he was like, rice and beans and plants, bro. And I was like, And so I'd always text him when I was trying it out. And I was like, can I eat this? And he's like, is it a plant? And I was like, oh, this is actually super easy.
Yeah.
And so it's an easy way for me to be disciplined. Plus, like my body, like I did it for a camp. It made making weight, doing all that super easy, didn't hurt. And then like afterwards, I was like, well, my stomach and gut has never felt this good. And so like the biggest thing that I've learned is there's a way to do it wrong and there's
Sure.
a way to do it right. And so like if you do it wrong and you just go, oh yeah, vegan, check, and then you don't like read or understand what you're eating, then you're still doing the same thing that if you were just eating trash. So
Yeah.
like you can eat bad in any of these ways.
Sure.
Is what I've learned. So
Yeah, I had someone who messaged me, a friend that I work with. She messaged me literally last night. And she said, "Hey, what kind of rice can you eat on keto?" Cauliflower.
Yeah.
Cauliflower rice. That's the kind of rice you eat on keto.
None is what she said. Can't have any.
Yeah.
See, and I eat entire pots full of rice now.
Right.
But and when we were doing the last thing when I was getting ready for the PGF stuff with you last time, like you were sending us a lot. You sent us our whole like, dude, like she was sending the meal plan, the grocery list, like so it was easy in that way for us. We still had to cook and clean. She didn't come wash our dishes and stuff. But
you have to pay me more.
I say,
That's a full
we're
service.
We're working on it. You know. Hey, if y'all want to send us some donations, we'll get Tanya to come live in and start doing stuff for us.
donate to you so that you can have your in-house
live-in
nutritionist.
nutritionist. Yes, come on, don't y'all love me? Come on, that's what
He was watching
Go
Kanye
fund me.
videos before this.
That's right. Hey, come on, man. But you were sending to some of those things, and a lot of the times it was like a cauliflower rice or some random thing like that. And in my mind, when she would tell me what it was, I was like, okay. And then, but then when you start eating it, I was like, oh, this is actually really, really good.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then one of the things that was interesting is that I think we eat in the SAD diet so many like wasteful calories or whatever and stuff.
Sure.
Like you eat so much, but it's still not, it doesn't satiate you as far as nutrition and stuff. So you never quite get full in the right ways.
Yeah.
And then when we were eating some of that with your stuff, like I would just be like, I can't eat all of this food. Like I'm just completely full. And Mandy, we would conversate with you. It's like, hey, that might be actually though kind of why you're getting stuck in certain places, because you're not getting enough calories actually to get your base level of the day. So you're not being healthy. You're just losing weight is not the right goal from a nutrition standpoint. Right.
Nutrient dense. That's the key to when you're eating, is that you want your food to be nutrient dense. And it's like you said, you can eat and eat, processed drive-through crap, and you're not getting the nutrients that you need. And that's why in an hour you're hungry again, because you're literally not fueling your cells.
It's tough, man, because we grew up, and I don't know about exactly, you're a little bit older than I for sure, but like the sugar cereals and different things like that is like you get the oatmeal, they put some sugar on top, or like cornflakes, I'll just throw some sugar on it. Yeah. And it's just like, all right, or sweet tea, just dosed with sugar. So we've grown up on just sugar. And so for myself, it's been a problem in that way, that it's just something that I'm used to the flavor of that in everything. And then also I really feel like there's an emotional component to some of the like treating yourself kind of things with like ice creams or different things like that. You get an attachment to that chemical feeling that you get from some of that stuff too. It's really interesting. The more like everything that you study as you go deeper and deeper into that kind of stuff, how it all really can affect you like chemically in your body. And then that can make you feel better or feel worse. And then, so I don't know where that tangent really came from, except for that it's like, it's really, really interesting to think about how drastically changing what you're eating can also just change literally everything about how you're feeling every day. Like the cloud in your brain can kind of lift for some people. It's like you got this brain fog that kind of goes away.
Sure.
There's all kind of like stomach problems that he said that a lot of us deal with that, maybe you don't even realize is a problem, because it's just kind of been what you dealt like.
It was just how I always felt. Yeah.
You always had acid reflux or something like that. And then maybe it's just because of the way that your diet is set up and something like that. You could do a simple tweak to it and never deal with that problem again. For
sure. There's so much, so many people have been diagnosed with irritable bowel syndrome. It's kind of a catch term, for intermittent constipation, diarrhea. You just have all these gut issues. You're constantly feeling bloated or, sick to your stomach, or acid reflux. And, what's the number one, GI medicine? Nexium, Protonix, Prilosec, all these over-the-counter things that you can buy for everybody's treating their own acid reflux, but they're not really getting to the source of the problem. Everybody just thinks, oh, well, I'm just supposed to have it. everybody gets it. It's
my mom had it, or my dad had it, or
Yeah.
and people just move on. They're like, oh, like we just all have acid reflux, and I was like, well, have you seen what you all eat?
Right, exactly.
What are some things that are common, like trade-offs maybe, or fixes for someone that may be experiencing that? Like, is it that they have too much acid? What kind of natural things can help?
What's really funny about that is, most people think, oh, I've got this acid reflux. I've got too much acid, so I need to take this antacid. I take this Tums or whatever, and it'll neutralize the acid. A lot of times you don't have enough acid, and that's why you have this problem. And there's so much, science surrounding the gut. And, 80% of your immune system is in your gut. And so when you think about the number of people that have all these different autoimmune disorders and things, and when they start looking at their diet, integrative medicine is great at getting to the root cause of things. And so they kind of start with those things as far as like, okay, tell me what you eat on a daily basis, and say, okay, well, this has got gluten in it, and this has got this in it, this chemical, or, whatever. And when you really start breaking down, and, in some extreme forms, we do, like an AIP diet, where it's where you eliminate. It's an elimination diet, and you pretty much eliminate everything that could be inflammatory, and then you start adding things back one at a time, and you journal. It's a tough process, and most people don't want to. They want to take a pill. They want to get a shot. They want to get, gastric bypass or a gastric sleeve, or, all those quick fix things. You're like, oh, let me just take this medicine and it'll fix that. And before you know it, you're on 5 or 6 medicines to fix this problem and fix the problem of this medicine. And, it's kind of.
Then you're fixing problems from medicine.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, and if you would just do the work, like, get a notebook and write down what you're eating. And okay, I ate at 8 o'clock, and now at 9 o'clock, I'm nauseous, or I'm bloated, or whatever. And you kind of journal, what feelings you have, or like, I ate this donut, and 2 hours later, I feel like I need to crawl under my desk and take a nap. So when you start to look at the patterns of what you eat, you can find the problem.
Yes. That's true. Super interesting. And then, so the 80-20 rule on the immunity, did you hear that?
Yeah.
She dropped that. She don't even know what we're talking about. The Pareto's principle, 80-20. It's just 80%, 80-20 on everything. Basically, there's always a balance on that. It's like 80% of the people do 20% of the work, and,
right.
Et cetera. So just interesting about the 80% of the immunities in
the gut.
The gut. So, and then also I've heard that the serotonin, like your happy chemical, basically comes from your gut now. That's right. Too. And that's something that I don't know how long that's been known, but I guess for me, I didn't know that until recent enough that it's all attached to your gut biome. What are some things that, like, are you like a big kombucha fan? Or are you a big fermented?
I was going to ask that. Like, is it fermented foods that you look at with that?
There, it's definitely has its place, but like I said, you look at that, bio individuality, and take each person, and as much as people will let you, because, I was telling somebody yesterday, I had a client that signed up for 12 weeks of nutrition coaching, meal plans, and, the whole package, where, you're looking at lifestyle, and you're looking at relationships and career, and all the components that make up what we call primary food. It's not just the food that you eat, it's all your environment, and your sleep, and your stress, and your relationships, and spirituality, and all that stuff. And so this girl, paid me, and we did the first week, we did the meal plan, and then she was like, yeah, I just, I don't think I'm going to have time to do this. And if you're not going to take the time to devote to those things, because it really is, it's not something that's just super easy, until you figure it out, and what works for your body. It's just about learning, okay, this is what I'm eating, this is how I feel when I eat it, maybe I shouldn't eat that, and making those little changes. It doesn't have to be drastic, and like, all of a sudden you just eliminate all the food that you eat. And you can do those things, progressively, a little bit at a time. And, it really just is on an individual basis, and the level of commitment that you get from the person that you're working with.
Yeah. That's one of the big things I learned when I went like vegan, was digging down and reading all the chemicals, because not that I have any like direct allergies or anything that I have, but like you develop sensitivities to especially, you know, animal product, like as far as the meat byproduct. And some of the chemicals that they put into, like, so you were talking about sugary cereal. That made me think of it. It was like there's sugary cereals out there that'll like destroy my stomach because they have like what is it, riboflavin. Yeah, that'll just wreck me because it's like, oh yeah, nope, hadn't had that in a while. My body doesn't know what to do with it. Like,
so are there any essential? And I don't know this. I'm asking genuinely though, but are there essential like nutrients though that you can't get from being vegan that you need to get from meat?
So I think that depends on which side of the camp that you're on. You know, if you're on the vegan camp, they're going to say, I can get everything I need from every plant. And if you're on the carnivore side, you know, look at Sean Baker. I don't know if you know who he is. He's a carnivore.
I've seen some of his stuff.
He's an orthopedic surgeon. He's a workout guy. He's Instagram. And he'll tell you that there's not a single thing that you can get from a plant.
Yeah.
Like plants are, you know, the antichrist to him. And, you know, he does all these videos and whatnot with, you know, you've got a vegan over here. Like he does these little videos where we have a box of a vegan trying to make a steak out of a banana peel, like banana bacon. You know, they make banana bacon and, you know, it's just extremes, you know, showing extremes and, you know, like adding all these different things in to try to make something that really is meat. And, you know, so I think it just depends on what side of the camp you fall on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I like some plantains though. Now in Costa Rica, we went and they do those just right. I'll trade that for bacon. I'll trade that. I'll call it bacon if they want me to.
Yeah.
Because if they do those they slice them thin and then I don't know how exactly they do it.
I tried to
watch her, but
Leanna is Colombian. My best friend, Leanna is Colombian.
Leanna came down and did a CPR course.
Yeah, she told me that she did that.
It was really cool to be able to do that with her.
Again. Yeah, but you know she's Colombian, and
I didn't know that actually.
And her mother, man, she can cook. You know, I could be a lot bigger if I ate that Colombian diet. You know, but fried plantains is one of the things that her mother made for us when we went to Connecticut one time for a race, and we stayed at her mom's house, and she's like, I'm going to make this Colombian breakfast, you know, and you have chicharrones and empanadas and, you know, like these meat-filled pies and this, you know, huge, thick kind of bacon-y like stuff. But fried plantains is one of Leanna's favorite things. And
bless you.
So, yeah.
They're delicious.
Those are one of my favorites.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I look forward to every year when we get to go down there.
Yeah. So tell me about Costa Rica.
Oh, I love it. It's one of the favorite things I've ever done was going.
Yo hablo un poquito de español.
Ooh.
We're gonna have to work on our
I'm working on it, and to a degree I read and try to say little things to myself and study, but it's super hard to do this anyway whatsoever, not being like immersed in some way around someone full time or something like that. So it's really hard to do it. So no, I don't know what you said.
I said I do speak a little bit of Spanish.
Okay, well there you go. You speak a little more than I do. Poquito.
There you go.
There he is.
But
so you need a nutritionist at your next event?
That'll be fun to have down there. We've talked about that for sure, yoga and different things. I think having all of that is something that we want to have in all the things that we do. It's been something Isaac and I, he's heard me talking about it with a lot of people, like as part of the gym, is thinking about, instead of always adding on more like things to do with hard work or whatever, maybe we'll add more like restorative care, like recovery and like physical therapy kind of stuff more, instead of trying to make it more like go hard kind of ideas. Like find that balance somehow between, you know, what the physical, because at a certain point, if you want to compete in anything, you have to go pretty hard and push yourself, right? This is actually one of the questions I had in my notes now that I'm thinking about it. What for you now as a coach, for somebody that's like, if you had me again as a young fighter that was doing the kind of training that I was doing and knowing that I was hard-headed like I was and needed to do, you know, whatever I wanted to do in some ways, how would you temper someone like that if you saw that you thought they were about to I don't like the word overtrain because I think that's not the right thing that's happening. But if you see that they're about to push themselves to burnout or to injury, what are some ways that you could help maybe myself or other coaches like talk to that person and say, hey, you know, it's okay to pull back or whatever that process is, because they still are going to compete, right? And so how can you find that balance in that moment of there's a competition coming up and you need to get work in, but man, you're going to hurt your shoulder worse or your knee worse or whatever if you don't take a little time right now to get this fixed up.
You know, a lot of that, I did a little video yesterday on ambition and believing in yourself. And one of the topics was environment. And so I think it has a lot to do with the environment that you're in. So it depends on where you're training, right? If the environment that you're in is just hardcore, balls to the wall, you're never taking a break, you know, we're going to snap arms in the arm bar, we're going to, you know, break your foot. You know, it depends on the environment that you're in as to if you surround yourself with people of that mentality and that there's no one else that is giving you any other kind of information. It's going to be hard as one person, especially me, a female, talking to, you know, a male MMA fighter, or even another athlete, a triathlete or an OCR athlete, endurance athletes. You know, we do a lot of endurance stuff.
Yeah, even thinking about some of your people.
Yeah, with, you know, with our endurance race, the Gauntlet, you know, it's hard to temper. It is hard to temper people when they may think that you don't understand their particular sport, and that, you know, having that I've never done jujitsu or, you know, striking or anything like that myself. You know, I've been around it a lot and done a lot with it with the state. And, but.
Oh yeah. You've been.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you know, when people perceive that you don't know what it takes to compete at their level, then it's hard to temper someone with that. But, you know, at the same time, you know, you do what you can as a coach to try to say, okay, this is what I've seen. This is what I've experienced. This is what history shows. And these are the new ways that are going to get you even farther for a longer period of time. You know, because that's really it. You know, in sports in general, your longevity in your sport depends on how well do you take care of your body. You know, how many people blow out their knees or, you know, blow out their shoulders and their neck. And, you know, in your sport, in my sport, you know, it really is just, you know, for the longevity of your career, if you can learn early on that you need to take care of your body, you need to recover properly, you need to feed your body, you need to fuel your body for the performance that you need. And so, you know, I think it's important to keep trying, you know, but it really is about your environment and the people that you surround yourself with and the mentality of those people.
Yeah. And making it okay for somebody to be honest about whatever's going on
for
themselves. And like I say, just making it okay to take the day off or whatever for really almost any reason, even, I think is valid. And I think people are like, oh, you got to have a good excuse. I think to me sometimes, man, I don't have any clean socks. I've been busy. I've been working all, you know what I mean? I haven't had a chance to do any laundry, man. So I got to take the night off tonight to make sure I get all my laundry done. And then I'll be able to do everything I can for the rest of the week because I'll have all my stuff done. Yeah. But if I don't take this one night off on Monday, which you normally would need me to be here or want me here, expect me here, the rest of my week is going to be off because of what, you know what I mean? So the giving them, and we talk about that a lot, the opportunity to just to communicate with you what's happening and genuinely what's happening instead of like, people just ghost you a lot of times in those situations because they don't feel comfortable coming to you as a person or a leader. They think you're going to ridicule them or talk trash to them or whatever in some kind of serious way. When in reality, a lot of times I think most of us should, well, I don't know. I think most of us should, but I think a lot of us may not. But as good coaches, you should understand that that thing is important too, is getting everything done is more important than getting the one thing done.
Right. For sure.
So, I think, if you train 5 days a week, missing one session in the week to get something else that's essential to you done is not a problem at all. It's actually good to do that, you know, But if you only come 1 day a week, then don't hit me with the, hey, I didn't get stuff done.
That's what I was gonna ask. What about the guy
Yeah.
that uses that as the excuses, or like when it starts getting more, or is that what you're talking about? Like you being tempered?
Yeah, it's like for me, that
like,
too though.
of
Is like,
not being too soft, but
right, with
being
it, if they're not coming enough at all, it's like you just got to be honest with them too. This is why you're not getting the result. Kind of like you were saying, the person that's like, yeah, this is too much work. It's like, well, you're never gonna hit that next level, and everybody that's at the level you're at, and even people below you, are gonna start passing you.
Yeah,
and then that's gonna be a different, even mental hurdle then that you got to get over, more so than the physical stuff or whatever it is that you're waiting on now, because that whole thing of being embarrassed now because now Tanya's better than me, and when I was in the gym I was better than her last time. So now I'm gonna duck Tanya or whatever and not train with her and stuff like that. Like you'll see a lot of, and then they just stop coming because their whatever pride can't handle it. I don't want to say ego, but their pride or whatever can't handle that thing. Dude, that was one of the most fun things about the compound workouts too, is like it was balanced in a way that it was the individual when we were in there most days. And I could be beside this tiny lady like Carrie, for instance, and she would work the out of me because I couldn't keep up with her.
Yeah.
But we were doing the same thing for the same amount of time.
Yeah.
And I didn't care that she was smaller or whatever. I wanted to do as much work as she was doing.
Yeah.
But I couldn't, like they were just more than me. They were working harder or what. It didn't matter that they were a mom or whatever and like a professional in some other thing, that they were coming over there to get work. And so it was like so much fun. Like the camaraderie was so much, like it was a really unique thing for me to have that. It was like the only other thing besides like the fight team was like being around that team in the same way and getting, I don't know, it was really like the suffering together kind of thing is important. So that's what I mean is like, without that push sometimes of like, and again, she's seen me as in any kind of the positions I've probably ever been in, like physically or emotionally or whatever. But like sometimes I needed that person to be like, no, dude, you got to get up and go one more time.
Right.
Right. And then there's an element of that. But then also like when you have the person that that they've given you, at this point, you know them well enough that it's like, all right, this is now we're doing too much to you to try to prove some point that we already know. Right. Or whatever. I think for me, that's the hardest balance now for people who want to do jujitsu or MMA as competition, because you do got to know, you got to know what it's like when a guy rakes across your face and twists your neck before you go experience that out in the real world. Cause that's going to be really embarrassing if you've never felt that before. And then you go out to a competition for the first time and it happens to you and you have to tap in like no seconds because you've never experienced it. So there's an element of the realness that you got to give people, but then how often do I got to really crank your neck to the side, like violently like that in practice?
Right.
Not much, I don't think, like, but then maybe one time's all it takes to hurt this guy enough that he doesn't want to come back to class because his neck, so that like all that stuff, like how do you balance the new person who's super eager, who may not be able to keep up with the more intermediate students who may not look like they should be able to do more.
So we actually had this experience yesterday.
Juicy.
We started a
real
fresh. So we started another challenge. We do these 8-week challenges all the time at the gym, weight loss, fitness challenge, whatever. And, we throw a little bit of money at it, certain percentage of money of each entry fee goes into a prize pot. And sometimes it's really good, which I think
I've done a couple of
you've done a couple of those. Sometimes it's really good. Sometimes it's, okay. So we had 2 new girls that came, and one of the girls like looks super buff, like she's fit. She's probably I don't want to guess her age, but she's not like 20.
Right.
I don't think she's my age. But anyway, so she came in and I said, so what do you do? And she's like, oh, I do weights. I'm like, okay, that's cool. And she's like, I'm here for a little bit of cardio. My husband doesn't like to do cardio at our gym, and so I'm here with my friend to support my friend and whatnot. And so we did a lot of burpees yesterday, and burpees are the equalizer. If you're not cardio fit,
they destroy you.
It's going to hurt you. It's going to hurt. So we were doing that, and then they had to do 800 meters on the rower or the ski erg or the assault treadmill. And so she got over there, and she was beside Leanna, right? Leanna's powering through it. You know, Leanna comes and she's there all the time. She's been there for 8 years. And this girl was like sucking wind bad. And, you know, Leanna was trying to talk to her and tell her how to, you know, fix her stroke and stuff on the thing. And she's like, how are you doing this? And she's like, I've just been doing it a long time. And so, and we, you know, and we've had it many, many times where we'll have like bodybuilders come in who lift a lot of isolated weights and don't really kind of train like we do. And they'll be gassed in 5 minutes. And it's humbling, I think, you know, for a lot of people that come in.
That's why I kept doing it.
And you know, and they come in and they're like, I'm super fit, you know, like I'm beautiful, my body is perfect. And then you try to do this functional, you know, fitness workout and you're done in 5 minutes. And, you know, people are like, how is this even happening?
Dude, I went like literally with you guys was going from, I mean, I was doing all the fighting stuff or whatever, but as far as like working out and fitness stuff, I'd never really cared that much about it. But like the climbing the rope or whatever, I'd never really climbed a rope before. But then at a certain point, it was just, you know, no problem to climb up a rope all the time or jump and pull myself over that wall 10 foot or whatever it was, 8 feet or whatever, like just over and over, or carry 30 or 40 pounds awkwardly, you know, around stuff. It just like, you know, it was really tough, but I think it was like very similar to the stuff that goes into a fight. And if you can condense some of that emotional stuff that we're talking about into that workout zone, you can learn how to balance those things together, like the fight when things are getting hard and your arms are tired or whatever and you can't breathe, but now we like, you know, there's still more to go, right? You know what I mean? Or this little lady is now getting ahead of you, Mr. Tough Fighter guy. You're too tired? Are you gonna be okay? You're too tired for this lady here to not stay ahead of you. And it's like those were the mental games that I had to get over, because at a certain point it was like, it's not even about being too tired. It's just about like body type. Yeah. She's more efficient at moving fast in certain things. Yeah. If she had to pick up 100 pounds, I would beat her more. Right. But in this situation, at the weights that we're doing things, it's mostly body weight, getting up and over things like that. She had a huge advantage 1-to-1 in that on me at 215 pounds. And she's, I don't know, I don't want to speculate, but tiny to me compared to what I was at that point. You know, and so like that kind of stuff was a little insulting at first to be honest, to my emotions. And so it was challenging. And then I realized that other people didn't have it. And I was like, all right, this is a thing that I need to have, because I know nobody else has it, because I'm the only one that's doing it, you know. And I know, like, you had to push yourself a certain level to ever feel that way. Yeah. And so I knew that going into fights a lot of times, that I would be surprised if people had put themselves in a situation like I was, where it was easy to just walk away and quit from whatever the thing was and not push that extra 30 seconds to finish or whatever it was. When in a fight, that 30 seconds is literally everything. Sometimes at the end, you got to have that, or you don't have anything, you know? So it was super confidence boosting for me in that way. And I'm really like I said, I still think about it all the time, and like really proud of that time, from where there's a lot of work being put in. There's a really good team of people, and like there's still some core members of that thing that are around that are really cool to still talk to. And, you know, people lives, you know, go different way. We had to move away and different things like that too, you know. But it's still like it's still going to always be a really special time for me, when we were really working out together at those two different locations over the years. And so I'm really like excited to see the growth. And we Mandy and myself are trying to figure out how to time out one of those classes to go down there and do some trapeze stuff. And
I want to come film that.
I know you do. I know.
If we're putting you in the air, I'm definitely going to be there to film it.
I'm ready. Hey, okay. What's up, people? Let's do it. We just got to time it out right. I think most of y'all's classes are in the evening when we're doing stuff too, but we can maybe talk her into a special.
We can do a private
special show there. See what's up. And so I guess while I have you here, I can put you on the spot also. Liana had mentioned actually when she was down here about getting you guys to come down and do like I don't know if you were a seminar or in, you know, class or something on the deep stretching and different stuff like that one day for our people. or any people that are interested in that kind of stuff as an idea down at 10th Planet Perry. So we definitely want to try to figure out some stuff on that, because I don't know enough about it to know, to be confident to teach or tell anyone, too confidently about it. So I really want to get a professional in here to work on some of that stuff. So what kind of stuff can people expect if they were going to come to a deep stretching or recovery?
So we call it stretching for flexibility, and it's you can break it down to like happy hips, hamstring freedom. It just depends on, do you want a full body experience? Do you want to just isolate hips? Do you want to isolate, shoulders or whatever? I like a full body class. It makes a good seminar. It takes some time because you're looking at, most people when they stretch, they say, oh, I'm going to go this way and I'm going to go this way and I'm going to hold it for like 10 seconds and I'm going to be ready to go. This is holding poses for 2 to 5 minutes in each stretch. And so, whether you're talking about a shoulder stretch with your arms are up the wall and you're stretching your shoulders and the, front of your chest, or,
what does that feel like? Like when you're in there and it's like,
it's rough.
Yeah.
It's, most people think deep stretch, they hear deep stretch and they think, oh, it's going to be relaxing because, like if you go to a deep stretch yoga class, most of the time it is relaxing. You're going to do a little bit of stretching with a strap, or we do bring straps, we bring blocks, we bring pillows, for different supports. But these are deep stretches, things, hip flexors and, glutes and things that, get used a lot and most people don't stretch. And so, you can do something like a frog pose and, you think about what that is, how your legs are kind of splayed out but holding that position for 5 minutes. Most people hold that.
Awful.
Yeah. And you're going to be sweating and it's going to, you're going to be we do a lot of breathing. We call it.
I was about to say, you better be doing some breath work right there.
For sure. We do a lot of what's called 4-8 breathing, where you breathe in through your nose for 4 and out through your mouth for 8 to really get into these poses, like to really be able to withstand the stretch.
I think we need that.
And it's
you into some of that.
Oh, I'm down with that. Every time I do yoga, like when I did it out there in Arizona and whatnot, was like every time I do it, I'm like, I got into a stint when I was doing it every single day, like doing some sort of breath work, doing like an hour-long yoga session, like she's talking about too, like not just like, oh, I feel better. No, like stretching out, staying in a pose for like 4 minutes and like breathing through it. Like,
okay,
I always want to get back to it daily when I do it. So then
let's ask this question, and this is a personal question, just straight up. How do I, the person who's very similar to like you mentioned in yourself, how do I find how do I spend an hour every day doing something like this? Or what do you quarter off? Because I still need to work out, right? And I still have to do my other stuff. So how do I do 30 minutes of stretching or 45 minutes of stretching every day if I only have an hour to work out, Tanya? I'm so busy. I have my kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do?
I would say dedicate 15 minutes before you go to bed. Yeah. If you can give me 15 minutes, I can greatly improve your flexibility and your mobility.
So you would have a routine for about 15 minutes before bed at nighttime?
Yep.
Okay. And you think is that to help you get better rest, you think too?
It's definitely going to help you get better rest. That 4-8 breathing in and of itself helps you be in a more restful state. And we say, when we do these seminars, we tell people you need 2 hours after this seminar. Don't go lift weights. Don't go do MMA training. Don't go ride. Nothing that you need to do physically that's going to be demanding within 2 hours, because you stretch things so much that you have a lot of laxicity in your joints and things like that. And so you can actually injure yourself if you do this type of deep stretching and then try to go do, like one of our compound workouts. We would never do a stretch class like that. It would need to be after.
Okay. And so it would be something you would do maybe after an intense session. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a timetable between the like intense session to when you do it that's optimal? Or is it just like, if I trained hard that morning, could I like whenever I can squeeze it in that afternoon or that
for
evening,
sure?
like,
yeah. There's really not, an optimal time. We just say, evening or, that kind of thing, because of the breathing that comes along with that will put you in more of a relaxed state. But stretching in and of itself, if you can get that in the middle of the afternoon and you've worked out in the morning, definitely a benefit.
I in the book I mentioned, they talked about some of the breathing, different things, even like the breathing in and out through the different nostrils to get that flow going in. One of the random, that's why I laughed when I thought about it a minute ago. And you were talking about the breathing before you go to bed on, I think it's on Audible, but there's these sleep stories or whatever. And I found it now for other stuff too. But the first one I found was P. Diddy, and it's him talking about you getting to rest and go to sleep. It's got some relaxing like stuff. And that's part of it, is that he counts down the breathing.
Yeah.
In for 4 and out for the 8 or whatever.
Yeah.
So that way it helps get you into that relaxed state.
For sure.
And it's so like his voice he kills it. I swear it's cool.
You would have the P. Diddy sleep
I
app.
didn't mean to. I didn't mean to. I just
the algorithm just put
it's
it
like
in front of you.
I saw it and I was like, what is this? I'm gonna try it. And I was like, oh wow, this is kind of cool. And so but then now, like with the kids, we play one usually when we're getting them ready for bed. We'll play one of those like sleep stories. Like there's a kids one, and it's kind of similar. They'll have things like that in there. And one of the things that I've noticed in a couple of those is that the lady, before she starts to get you to do the breathing, she'll cue you to like tense up and like tense up your body, and then relax and start doing the breathing from there. What I guess the only thing I can think about is that once you've held that tension so long, you kind of just want to like relax, and it helps you go into there. Is there any other reason that you can think of that would be into that?
I mean,
I don't know. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
But it's in a couple of the stories, and it to me, when I do it when I'm laying there, I'm like, I'll see what happens. It's like, okay, when I do want to like, because like after you strain, you want to take a couple good breaths or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was like, it's just an interesting thing.
You would, just as a general day-to-day kind of thing, you think about people that work in an office and they've got their shoulders up like this all the time, and their hands are up, and or just people generally carry stress in their shoulders, and so we're generally like this, all day long. And, we've got this thing called text neck now, where people are constantly with their head down like this. And and it's, it really is like chiropractors are seeing an increase of, neck problems and things from people like literally texting on their phones or being on their tablets, playing games or, whatever else.
Okay. And random thing, another thing I've read about in that regard too, is that the way that we live, you really rarely get to see the horizon and stuff. So you're never looking out at a very far distance. Most of the time we're always looking around in these smaller kind of enclosed spaces. So nobody's ever really just like sitting around and looking out. I just
heard something on a podcast the other day. I don't remember which one it was.
And I don't know. I just heard that and I was like, that's an interesting thought to explore a little bit.
So with this, they were talking about kids being diagnosed as nearsighted because of that, because their head is always down and they're so focused on their screens that when they look up, that they can't adjust.
I feel that. I mean, I look at screens probably 90% of my day now, and like
that's terrible.
Oh, bro, like the amount of video editing I do, and then this, and then the only break I get from it is driving.
You should take a nap.
I try. I'll show you my Whoop strap.
I gotta get one just to show you how good I am.
Yeah. It's. Do you use any sort of a tracker or anything in your fitness recovery? For your recovery?
Or fitness
tracker, as in
like
sleep.
Okay, yeah. So you do the Apple Watch.
Yeah,
that's ever since we got these Whoops, I've discovered how little I actually sleep.
Yeah, it's really it's crazy. People joke at the gym. They're like, "Wait, I didn't start my app. I'm not going to get credit for this number of calories." Or but just like with every piece of technology, whether it's your phone or it's your watch or your computer or whatever, you know, we've really have become addicted to this technology. And just the feedback of, you know, looking at your Apple Watch or whatever kind of tracker that you have, your Fitbit or whatever, of like, okay, I only got 7,000 steps today. I've got to, you know, I've got to go do this. Or, you know, it says that I only slept for 5 hours, or, you know, we really have become addicted to this technology. I'll tell you this story, this real quick. So I went to New York a couple of summers. I guess it's been a long time ago now, maybe 7 years ago. And it was a very remote place in New York. We landed in at the Albany airport in New York. And then we took a van for 2 hours, and then we had to take a boat, I don't know, for like 30 minutes to get to this place where we were going to stay for the week. I went to it was called Dirt in Your Skirt training camp. It was for obstacle course racing. And Margaret Slaughter was the person who put this on, and it was her family's property, and it was humongous and beautiful, and it was on a lake. And when we got there, you know, I had my phone, and I'm like looking for a signal. I'm walking around, I'm holding it up, you know, like getting on the tallest rock, trying to get a signal, no signal. And like she probably watched me do that for an hour. Like I literally was searching for a signal for an hour. And then she brought everybody inside, and she was like, you know, I've seen some of you outside trying to find a signal and stuff. She's like, there's no cell signal here. You're not going to be able to be on your phone. There was a rotary phone at that house. And she said, you know, if you've got a phone card, you can use it to make a long distance phone call.
Oh,
and
nice.
Old school.
There was no TV,
Patience.
no radio. She had a record player to play old timey records, you know, vinyl records.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Nice.
For technology for a week. I never knew how dependent I was on my phone and how addicted I was to just being connected all the time. And literally, being that type A, you know, I can't sit still. I literally, you know, she's like, okay, you know, you've got 2 hours of free time. Go do whatever you want. I'm like, do you need help cleaning? Do you need help cooking? What can I do? She's like, go take a nap. No, I don't nap. I need something to do, you know? And so,
yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it's, you know, yeah, now I probably could take a nap, but you know, it's, we get so wired that way and hooked up to technology that, you know, sometimes it's alarming to realize how much. I don't know if you get those notifications on your phone where it tells you your screen time.
I try to look at it.
Yeah. Like it's shocking, right?
Do you know what yours is?
What do you mean?
Do you know how much yours is? Oh, you're going to actually look at it. I think mine's in the 8 hour, 9 hour category.
Mine says 9 hours. I'm like, how am I on my phone 9 hours?
Do you listen to podcasts?
I do.
I think it counts that too.
Okay.
I think it counts.
Well, I feel better
active.
then because I feel like that's educational time. So.
Yeah. Well, that's 90% of mine's work. Like,
like
I'm working on my phone most of the time.
So about 5 hours, but of that, 3 hours is entertainment and stuff. So that's being on books and stuff like that. And then 35 minutes is productivity and finance.
Oof.
So there's about a 3 hour stretch of social media on there each day, or, you know, stints. But a lot of times I do zone out. I'm not going to say I don't zone out, but a lot of times I'm trying to do something like marketing wise or make a post, or then I get caught up with my ADHD and I'll be sending Isaac random TikToks.
Dude, if I get on TikTok, I lose an hour on TikTok if I go down that wormhole.
That damn algorithm is good.
It's good.
They know what they're
or
doing.
Bad, whichever.
That kind of ties into what you're saying too, though. In that way of the technology is like, it's so good that sometimes like it'll put you in a mental place that you may not want to go down because you watched a video about something.
Yeah.
It's like, what is this? And then you watch it all the way through. And then from now on, you're getting like divorce videos or whatever. And I'm like, hey, babe.
Are we okay?
Because sometimes I get things off of her algorithm because they know that we're close to each other. It's like, are we cool here?
We're good.
I mean, I know I watched that one video about a bad relationship, but I was just interested in what they were talking about.
It was good storytelling.
Yeah, that's what it is, right? But then this thing, you know, you get a little side eye stuff going on to that because like that's the funny one is like the jokes that people say like, all TikTok is this random whatever it is, and it's like yeah, because that's all you're like.
It's a reflection
you're
of you,
feeding
bro.
And so then like that was part of it though, was like you know, you realize a lot of different things kind of in a way through that. Sometimes though, is like, this is a thing that I must really be interested in, because I didn't realize that I was reading a lot about it until I just realized this was like
until it shows up in your Facebook feed that, you know, an ad or whatever for whatever that was.
Thing too. Yeah. So like there's a lot of things like that are interesting, like the history stuff or whatever. I'm sure a lot of people don't get some of that stuff, but I get some really like weird and interesting like history things that people talk about, because it's, I don't know, it's cool to me. And then like that randomly one day shot me down some weird ancestry loopholes, and I was like, oh, I don't want to read all these. I don't want to know all this. Because some people, like, honestly, like your family may not always be your family that you thought, and it may not be because somebody intentionally did something wrong or whatever. It's just like, this is not the way the DNA stacks out. But boy, I guess, and this could play into that food thing before we wrap up. Are there any tests similar to that, like genetic tests that are like you could, you know, from your ancestry in a way, see which foods you're more or less likely to, you know, digest well or respond to, or is that all like woo-woo science still?
No, there's some science to that, and some tests. There are a lot of saliva tests and things like that you can do to look at you know, some of the genetic markers for food intolerance and sensitivities and allergies and things of that nature. And, you know, integrative medicine, that's one of the big things that they do. They do a lot of genetic testing. They do a lot of food sensitivity testing, and, you know, just looking at gut biome and things like that. A lot of people will have intestinal parasites that they don't even know that they have, and will cause some of this GI upset kind of thing. And you wouldn't know it unless you do one of these tests. And so, you know, testing can certainly be, you know, a good tool.
Where would someone then start if they don't know that they have something, and then they just generally like don't feel well? They go to their doctor. Your average doctor will be like, well, what's wrong? Well, what do you think? And it's like, well, okay, here, try this random medication or whatever, and see if, like we were talking about earlier, how can you approach this? You're saying integrative medicine. Are there specific doctors you can look for?
Yeah. So unfortunately, you know, I mean, I've worked in the medical community for 25 years, and standard, you know, medical practice these days is based on a model of treating symptoms. You know, you come in and you tell me that you know, you have a cough, I'm going to give you a prescription for a cough medicine. If you come in and tell me that you have acid reflux, I'm going to give you a medicine for something to fix that. If you come in and tell me that, you know, if I find out your blood sugar is high, I'm going to give you a pill first to help you with your blood sugar. I'm not even going to talk to you about your diet and your exercise and any of those components that we know contribute to all of those things. And so integrative or functional medicine practitioners, whether it's a doctor or a nurse practitioner, a physician's assistant, a lot of those practices are popping up now. We don't so much have that here in our area, but Atlanta certainly has a good community of integrative practitioners up there. And, you know, anytime I have someone that's gone through 5 or 6 doctors, regular medical doctors and specialists here locally, I say you really need to see an integrative practitioner, because they're trained to go to root cause. And when I say root cause, I mean, what did your mother eat when she was pregnant with you? What was your mother's health like when she was pregnant with you? So we go all the way back to there and look for patterns, clues, things that can contribute to anything that has brought you to where you are.
So I have a confirming thing about that, because we have a theory. My wife, when her mom was pregnant with her dad every single night made a fresh batch of brownies every single night. My wife has hated chocolate her entire life until we met when we were like 18. So like we were 20. It was I think my 22nd birthday. So I think we were like 22, and she tried this thing that they call like a chocolate cake shot. That supposedly you do this like series of things where like you lick some sugar, you bite a lemon, and then you take the shot or whatever, and it tastes like a sheet cake from Walmart. Like that's what it tastes like, and 100% that's what it tastes like to me. When she tried that, she was like, "Is that what y'all think chocolate tastes like?" And we were like, "Yeah." She's like, "Doesn't taste like that to me when I eat chocolate."
Huh.
So I've just, when you said that, when it was like, what did your mother eat? Like we've had that conversation before of like, maybe that's when you decided, nope, I've had enough.
Yeah. You know, my mom, when she was pregnant with me, ate chocolate cupcakes, and I hate chocolate cake. There you go.
Science. See,
Science.
right here on the Dream Show.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's interesting. So I guess,
are you skeptical?
No, I'm not
Okay.
skeptical. I'm just thinking. So I don't know. This too much information, maybe, or whatever. But I don't know the exact attudes of everything. But before myself or my older sister were born, our mom was in an accident where she was blown up by a gas leak or whatever that exploded and stuff. And so I don't know enough to know the exact details of her health. But this was before she had either one of us, so she had already dealt with that. And then she died of leukemia when I was 3. So I'm just curious, you know, just that's just kind of what I was thinking about what you were saying, that kind of stuff. So I'm just curious, what was that like?
Well, you know, so they say there's a lot of research on traumas that are experienced by either parent, like your mom experienced a trauma before she had you, that trauma is ingrained in who she is, and that gets passed to the child. And so that's part of integrative medicine and what they do.
Yeah. I forget what that word's called, but epigenetics, is that what it is? I think that's what it's called.
My DuckDuckGo.
It's okay. You don't have to search.
Sure.
You don't have to search it up. I think I've looked into that a little bit too, because actually I've explored that thought process a couple of times. Because like, what does that actually mean? I don't know. I got to go talk to some older relatives to know the exact like timelines of the information and stuff, I guess, if I really wanted to look into it. But I don't think I've ever really wanted to dig it out.
Yeah.
But that's an interesting thing, because I've thought about that in regards to like with our kids or whatever, when we were doing different things, like our lives, when we were getting pregnant with Thomas, we were with you guys, we were training, I was training, she was working out every day or whatever. We were on the nutrition hustle like all the time. He came out, he's a stud. Like he's like huge. He's like super strong and big and like fit. And then with Charlie, we weren't living as much that same way because we already had the one kid, and Mandy's diet was probably not as good every day, because I know mine wasn't. You know, we were living in San Diego. She was working more. You know, the life had kind of changed. And so then I'm just curious, like what that means. You know, how does that affect each child? Like you're saying, like what you're doing in the environment obviously has some degree of something to that, you know, but does it, I don't know, like, cause you see people grow up in the same house and how different you and your sisters are or whatever, you know, but you have the same parents.
Yeah.
Right.
You grew up in the same house. Why are y'all so different? Is it something as simple as that? Was because she liked rice or whatever, or didn't like peppers this time, or some weird thing turned on and off inside, you know, their body, you know, when they were in utero or whatever, you know, it's just really, that's the kind of stuff that's kind of crazy when you start really digging into us.
It's a rabbit hole for sure. Yeah, it definitely is.
No, well, I don't want to hold you up too much more. I think we're getting close to that long 2 hour mark. That's really fun and informed. We could keep going though. I have a bunch of random questions like that I could hit you with on stuff. Is there anything that you want to kind of say or promote or talk about really quick before you get out of here?
No, I mean, you know, obviously, you know, just trying to keep growing my business, you know, at the compound, and, you know, we're integrating those new programs.
Where's the compound?
We're in downtown Macon on 5th Street. And we have a 2,600 square foot warehouse facility that we do some obstacle course training there, and do our functional fitness boot camps Monday through Saturday. And we have, yoga trapeze twice a week scheduled for right now. And then we're going to start adding in those stretch seminars and then the breath work coming soon. So, you know, just continuing my online coaching with nutrition and lifestyle coaching. And got several clients going with that right now. And, you know, I'm hoping, the hope is to get out of the hospital. I'm ready to retire from hospital nursing and just, you know, transition totally into the gym and into my, you know, coaching.
No, and you have such a wealth of knowledge on stuff. And I've seen, like I said, I can see the growth and everything over the years for you and how much you keep looking and gaining new information and trying to be better for yourself. And that to me is always the sign of a great coach and a great person and someone I like to look up to and try to follow along with. So I appreciate that about you and that you're doing all that stuff in the community. And I would just say, how can people contact you? Maybe because they can't get to Macon or they don't live in Macon, but your nutrition advice, the way that you worked with us and the accountability, the meal planning, the talking to you about preferences and like the really like the personal connection of that kind of stuff, I think is what helped push it over the top for me, rather than just saying you got to eat more of this and more of that. It was more like, okay, what are some things you like and don't like? And this is how we can tailor things to you. So how can they contact you if they're not locally to maybe get into some of that nutrition kind of coaching? Because I think a lot of people could benefit from that stuff. Yeah.
I can be contacted through the website. We have got a contact link on there. Just www.compoundfft.com.
Awesome. Isaac, is there anything else for you?
Nope.
Super informative. I'm definitely going to have to watch this one back. I never watch the ones back when it's just us because I'm just like talking and I know what I'm going to say. Or what I think. But this is really interesting. There's some questions I think that might be following up into your DMs with a little bit more after this and stuff like that. Thank you for coming in. We're going to break out. We are back again, I guess, right next week.
Yeah, we're back next week, April 9th. We've got Mid-South Classic.
Yeah, Mid-South Classic, the art show. We're doing an art show in the gym.
Cool.
How cool is that? Like we're doing a tournament and we're trying to blend the different aspects of it. So we're getting R.C. Hagen's a really dope artist from Opelika, I guess is where he's from. Yeah. He's going to come in on April the 9th after the tournament that evening and have some art in there. So we're going to do like a little dual thing, just trying to add some culture to our stuff too, in a lot of different ways, kind of, doing the opposite in some ways, kind of like we're talking about the opposite's always true or can work in the same way. So we're really excited for that. And then on April the 10th, Boogie and Gio are going to be in town for those of you who are interested for a seminar. We still have some spaces available for that. It's $150 for everybody that wants to come in, unless you're a member of a 10th Planet School. Then it'll be $125. Get with us on that. What else?
Call Buddy.
678-226-1994. He's your guy. I swear. If you call him and you got a problem, he'll help you fix it. And if he can't help you, he'll tell you who can. 678-226-1994. That's the Musgrove Trial Firm. You can't go wrong with that. Yeah, I'm good, man. Much love, y'all. Peace.